Have you ever thought about drinking like something just to experiment with it and then absolutely disliking it? Because that's what I'm currently going with. Oh my goodness, I just tried the Coca-Cola spiced or whatever, and it is funky. That is the best way to put it. Anyways, hello everybody, this is that Manga Dude. Welcome to a good old-fashioned reading log. Today, we're going to be talking about the lovely, lovely month of February 2024. Managed to pick up and read a ton. I'm looking at the stacks, and this is going to be a pretty long video. I bet you my voice is going to die, but we're going to try our best. As always, thank you everybody for watching. You can always join memberships if you want to do that. That's super cool. And if not, you don't have to, but you do get these videos a little bit early. Anyways, let's get started right now. All right, let's get it started. February 2024, what a month. So, first volume I read in February 2024 is the good old-fashioned Chainsaw Man, volume 14 from Tatsuki Fujimoto. This is the official aquarium arc. I almost said the zoo, wrong place, but this is the aquarium arc. We get to see the hilarious penguin or whatever. And some other strange things happen in this volume, but yeah, I would say a fairly good volume. Probably my favorite out of part 2. I haven't really been liking part 2 as much as part 1, but I did think this volume was a return to form in my opinion. So yeah, it was good to read. Alright, up next, I decided to read the first volume of In the Name of the Mermaid Princess from Yoshino Fumikawa and Miya Toshiro. I have already talked about this in the good old-fashioned FEI for February, but to give you some context here, this was a pretty solid fantasy series. Follows a story about this girl here on the front who is a mermaid princess. However, she lives in a world where people like her are known as unhumans, basically like monster people, so like harpies and mermaid women and other people like that are shunned in her country specifically. So her father, the king, is trying to cure her of her illness before she gets married off to another country. So it's got a really good, pretty solid first volume. I really like the art. The art is great. This is also an absolutely gorgeous cover, just saying. I would say give it a shot if you're into some kind of fantasy stuff with some political drama here and there too. Alright, up next, I decided to read the first volume of It's Just Not My Night, Tales of a Fallen Vampire Queen from Muchimaru. This was a suggestion from a follower/subscriber of the channel or on my Twitter. I thought it was fine. I did review it actually for a video in February, so if you want to go check that out, you can go check it out in the link over here. I thought this one was decent. I don't know if it's really my cup of tea. It's a little bit too I don't know how to explain it. Like, it has a lot of like gag jokes, and like gag comedies are hit or miss for me. Either I really like them or I don't. And this one kind of lies in the in-between there, a little gray area. So if you like gag stuff, I think you'll have a great time with this. It is pretty funny at points, but just wasn't my thing. Alright, up next, oh boy, I read the fourth volume of Akane Banashi from Yuki Suenaga and Takamasa Moe, and how does this series manage to keep getting better and better with every single volume? That doesn't make any sense. It very rarely happens, because the first volume was great, second volume was awesome, third volume was amazing, fourth volume is jaw-dropping. Man, the moment that Akane has with this guy, holy crapola. I didn't know what I was expecting, but man, it was something else. But man, what a fantastic volume. I'm really excited to see Akane keep growing as a Rakugo storyteller, and yeah, that's about as much as I can say about it. Alright, up next, I read the first volume of ID Invaded, #number break broken. This is actually a pretty cool series from Yuki Kodama and Otaru Meibo. I did start actually watching the anime, so I now have more context for the series, but it's pretty cool. Honestly, I think ID Invaded is actually a lot of fun. I did enjoy watching it and also reading it. Follows a story about this guy here who basically wakes up, at least for the manga, wakes up in like a car and he doesn't know what's going on, but car suddenly starts going and he kind of has to figure it out. He basically wakes up and he finds out that, oh yeah, he's like the genius detective and he's trying to figure out the murder of this one woman. It's a crazy sci-fi series, sci-fi mystery. It's intense. It is literally non-stop. The break is literally broken on this series. If you want to just like an intense, constantly moving sci-fi mystery series, I would say definitely check this out. All right, up next, I decided to read the third volume of PTSD Radio. This is the final volume, I believe, from Masaki Nakayama. And yeah, this is honestly pretty spooky. I think the main story is fine, but I think what really creeped me out the most, to be fair and to be completely honest, is the stories from the actual mangaka. Because, like, oh man, there's some stuff that he talks about, like, that happened while he was making the series that really creeped me the heck out. And, like, I don't know how he could have managed to continue writing this series or continue writing horror manga in general after the stuff that he had to deal with. But that was probably the creepiest thing. But yeah, overall, PTSD Radio is a pretty solid, like, horror manga. Almost like, I would say, an anthology, because a lot of the stories are kind of not necessarily connected, but somewhat interconnected. So yeah, overall, there's some kind of arcing story and overarching story throughout the volumes with certain parts of it, but there are other parts of it that are just really creepy. So yeah, if you want just an absolute terrifying horror manga, I would say give this a shot. Alright, up next, I decided to read the first and second volumes of Lucifer and the Biscuit Hammer from Satoshi Mizukami. This was another suggestion from a follower or someone, a mutual on Twitter. Goes by the name of Cruisin', I think. And yeah, this was awesome. I really, really enjoyed this. I had a great time with it. I think the characters are super awesome. The art is gorgeous. And it's just an overall, like a semi-interesting story. It really keeps you hooked from beginning to end, so that's really cool. Yeah, and it's a pretty chunky one, to be fair. But really glad I read it, and we'll definitely be picking up more of the omnibuses as time goes by. Alright, up next, I decided to read The Tree of Death, Yomo Suhegi, I think, Suhegui, from Masasumi Kakizaki. Wow, what a mouthful. Anyways, this is the same mangaka behind a series called Rainbow, which is one of my like series that I really hope that someone prints in English at some point. I don't know if it will happen, but yeah, this series follows a story about this guy right here, who gains this power basically to become immortal, and has the ability to kind of remove these like hearts of people that are basically tree people. Is the best way to explain it. It's creepy, the art is like stunning, dark, the story is dark, the characters are dark, and it's overall a pretty somber tale, but I did actually enjoy it quite a bit, and yeah, excited to read the next volume. Alright, up next, I decided to read 2 volumes of The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses. That's volumes 7 and 8 from Koume Fujichika. Another mouthful for me. I don't know why I'm having a hard time right now. But yeah, this is a really solid rom-com series following the 2 stories about these 2 kids here, where the girl almost always forgets her glasses and she has a hard time seeing, and this guy who is this kid who is totally down bad for her. So yeah, overall, it's just a cute little like rom-com, nothing too special, nothing too crazy. Like, I just having a nice smooth time with it. It's fun. Alright, up next, I decided to read the second volume of Gacha Gacha from Hiroyuki Tamakoshi. I guess I was in a rom-com mood, so I decided to read this next. So yeah, this one is a fascinating tale, to say the least. At least the first volume was. First volume, basically, to give you some context, the male lead is totally in love with this girl here in the front, but she goes off to Hawaii, and allegedly when someone goes off to Hawaii, they do the dirty is the best way to put it, and when she comes back, something's just a little bit off with her. For some reason, she keeps showing this other kind of persona. So something happened to her on that island, and now she has multiple personas for some reason. So the second volume actually explains what happened, and now she's getting more personalities. Now she has like this like fighting one, and like this kind of like sensei / like child one, which is kind of weird. So overall, it's just a little wacky story, nothing too mind-blowing, but it's decent, and I'm enjoying myself, so I'm going to continue reading it. Alright, up next, I decided to read the 32nd volume of Rama 1/2. Yes, this is from Rumiko Takahashi, and yes, this is the weird left to right one. Overall, I love this series. It's been one of my favorites from Rumiko Takahashi. Probably my favorite to date. We'll see if that changes depending on when I read Urusei Yatsura and when I finish My Sonokoku. But Rama 1/2 currently is my favorite. If you don't know, follows the story of Rama Saotome, who is the girl on the right. But it's actually a guy until one day he is fighting with his dad, practicing his martial arts, and falls into a pond, basically, that turns him into a girl when he touches, I think it's cold water. Yes, he touches cold water. So the only way he could turn back into a male is to hit get hit with hot water or touch hot water. So yeah, it's stupid, it's goofy, it's very of its age, but it's a ton of fun. I do really enjoy it. And yeah, this is just another solid arc, another solid volume of this. We get more information about Rama's mom, and yeah, it's just goofy. I don't know how to explain it. It's not a series that like requires a lot of brain power, but I just really enjoy it. Alright, up next, I decided to read the second volume of Magic Knight Rayearth. This is part 1, book 2 from Clamp, and this is the re-releases from Gacha, and yeah, I'm really enjoying this series. I really like the art. I think the action is fantastic. It's really well paneled. Everything is like just super intense. The story is pretty interesting too. I really like the weapon designs. There's a lot of good stuff about the series. So really glad to have picked this up, and really glad to have read it so early. Cannot wait until the third volume comes out. Alright, on to our next volume. So, I decided to read the third volume of My Girlfriend's Child from Mamoru Aoi. Holy moly. Oh, man. This is an absolutely fantastic, would I say coming of age? I think coming of age is the best way. Psychological coming of age story. Follows the story about these two and a couple, and the girl obviously gets pregnant while in high school. So it's about the aftermath of that. Like, what are they going to do as a relationship? What are they going to do with the child? Are they going to be able to keep working? And it goes into a lot of like really like deep detail as to what that entails, like visiting. Obviously visiting the doctors, going over finances, like what to do next, especially because you're in high school. Do you drop out? Do you continue going to school? A lot of factors that go into it, but like I think it's done in such a beautiful and nuanced way. I think anyone can really enjoy this. I think the art is gorgeous. There's a lot of really just like strong emotional beats as well. Oh man, this is a really good series. Definitely give it a shot if you're looking for like a very unique coming of age story. Excuse me. Ooh, excuse me. Oh my goodness. Oh my days. I decided to read, oh gosh, the second volume of Laid Back Camp. This is from Afro. And yeah, it basically just follows the story about these girls who like to go camping. And that's about as much as I can say about it. There's nothing too crazy about it. This one features a lot of another like amazing art. I've been really enjoying these kind of slower series, to be fair. I just really like it. When I can just relax, just read some manga where nothing super crazy is going on. You know, nobody's on the brink of death. No one has a gun to their head. They're just chilling like villains. So yeah, really enjoying this volume. I really enjoyed this volume and really just enjoying the series in general. Alright, up next, I decided to read Ristorante Paradiso from Natsume Ono, who, if you don't know, is one of my favorite mangaka, low-key. I just really enjoy her art. I love her storytelling, and this is another banger from her. Really enjoyed this one. Basically follows a story about this girl who is trying to find her mother after a few years of not seeing her. They're on not so good terms as well because of a variety of reasons. And yeah, so she starts going to this restaurant where she meets a variety of very good-looking older men. And yeah, it's about heartbreak. It's about like familial bonds and like the trauma of all this kind of stuff. It's got a lot of a mix of emotions. It's a really good one shot, or whatever you want to call it. Not too long either. I know it does have like a sequel series, or I guess it's a prequel series. I forgot what that one's called, but yeah, this was a really good volume. I did very much enjoy it. Yeah, if you want something with like some unique art and tells a fantastic story, I definitely give this a shot, or give any Natsume Ono work a shot. Alright, up next, I decided to read the fourth volume of Is from Masakazu Katsura. And yeah, this series continues to be a lot of fun, and these covers I continue to not like very much. But that's okay, because the art I like a lot more in the series itself. My boy really just needs to confess at this point, because he is starting to annoy the crap out of me. But yeah, it's still another enjoyable rom-com. Alright, up next, I decided to read Gunsmith Cats, The Return of Grey from Kenichi Sonoda, and wow, this one has some intense driving sections. Overall, we get a good wrap-up for the current arc, or whatever arc that you want to say it's part of. Really good series across the board. I really like Rally. I think she's like a really awesome main character. And Minnie May is also pretty cool as well. I love the card like stuff. I think the card stuff is awesome. Like some really beautifully drawn cards. You could tell that the artist really appreciates vehicles in general and really takes the time to draw them out. Because there's some awesome car chase scenes. There's some awesome like fighting scenes in general. So yeah, Gunsmith Cats is super, super cool. Alright, up next, I decided to read the first volume of X, 1999. This is the prelude from Clamp, and this one's really flippin' cool. Basically follows a story about like this kid who shows up to school again, and like something is clearly up, and like everyone's like, oh, I want to see him again. But now he's like, stay away from me. And he obviously has like some magical powers, and man, there's just some really cool fights in this one as well. I've been on a Clamp binge recently, and I'm really glad to have this. This is like the older print of it. And it's just a really cool series. I think it's really cool. I know I'm like not giving like any context for any of these series per se, but genuinely, if you're looking for like a fantastic like fantasy action series, this is a solid one, at least from the first volume. Alright, up next, decided to read 3 volumes of Ajin Demi-Human from Gamon Sakurai. This is volumes 2 through 4, and oh my goodness. Can we just talk about this series? This series is crazy. It's insane. It's balls to wall, non-stop action. Just like an absolutely crazy, insane villain. Whatever his name is, the hat guy. I can't even remember his name. He just scarred me for life. But like, man, the fighting is super awesome. The art is super solid as well. Like, the villain is kind of likable, and it sucks, but he's also just a terrible person, so you can't really root for him, but you kind of want to, but you also don't want to. But, yeah, the villain is so well written. He's extremely cunning. He's really smart. I like him a lot, honestly. He makes this series a lot better. But overall, man, if you want, like, some really dark, intense art with a really crazy story, you should definitely give us a shot. It's really flipping cool. Alright, up next. And in the complete opposite direction, I read My Special One, Volume 5 from Momoko Koda. And yeah, it's just a cute little idol romance series with some absolutely hilarious faces. I do very much enjoy this series. This is a fun one. I like the main character a lot. I think she's really well written. I love the stupid gags are like probably my favorite of any like shoujo series that I've read up to this point. There are some hilarious faces that that Momoko Koda writes. But yeah, I did enjoy this volume. I thought it was good, and I can't wait for the next one. Alright, up next, I decided to read the first volume of Gazing at the 7-Eleven next door. No, Gazing at the Star Next Door from Amitsu. Yeah, this was a really good first volume. I really enjoyed it. I think the art is gorgeous in this one as well. I like the dynamic between the two main characters. They're really cool. Yeah, this is overall, it's a pretty solid, like, rom-com series in school life as well. So if you're looking for like a high school romance where the main characters are a ton of fun, definitely give it a shot. It's cute. Alright, up next, I decided to read the first volume of I Want to End This Love Game from Yuki Domoto. And yeah, this was a solid first volume. I really don't like this cover. I think I mentioned that during the FEI because I think it doesn't really show how much the art is like a lot of fun in the actual series. I think the art is really cool. Just skip past one of my favorite parts. This part right here, it's just like a good example of just how good the art is, and I feel like the cover does not do it justice. So as they say, don't judge a book by its cover, because yeah, you might miss out on something pretty cool. But overall, this was a decent rom-com. Not my favorite in the bunch that I read this month, or last month, but still very much enjoyed it. Alright, up next, I decided to read the second volume of Renee from Rumiko Takahashi. Yeah, this was pretty fun, pretty straightforward, nothing too crazy about it. Basically, it's about this like half-demon dude who comes and helps to basically move people on to the afterlife. And it also follows this girl here who had a some kind of like moment back a long time ago, and that allows her to see spirits as well. So yeah, it's about them together solving these kind of like simple mysteries. It's very episodic at this point in time, but I am still enjoying it. It's not my favorite series that Rumiko Takahashi has, but I still think it's pretty solid. Alright, last but not least for this section, we have ourselves Soloist in a Cage. This is volume 3 from Shiro Moriya. Yeah, this is the end of the series. I cannot believe it's over. There's another just like intense, I want to say like post-apocalyptic-ish like action series. A lot of espionage. It's a thriller. It's really intense. And yeah, I kind of like how the series ends. I think it ends on a pretty solid note. And I don't think it's like the like I would say like the best of the best endings for everybody, but I do appreciate that the mangaka really took time to help finish this off, because like I feel like the series could have just ended and like it would have kind of sucked. But yeah, action is great. The characters are pretty great. I think some of the facial expressions are a little weird for me, to be fair. But yeah, they have action down. They have posing down. They have like, oh, really cool scene right here. Double spreads down, shading down. Yeah, I would love to see what Shiro Moriya's got next. Alright, let us continue. So, up next, I read the second volume of Full Moon O Sakashite from Arina Tanemura, and yeah, this is a pretty solid series. I read the first volume, what feels like a long time ago, and I decided to read the second volume because I have a couple volumes now, and yeah, it's a pretty enjoyable series. Basically follows the story with this girl who has a terminal, I believe it's a throat cancer specifically, and before she passes away, she always wished she could be like a pop star. So her Shikigami people basically give her the ability to turn into this singer, and like can live her like best life basically until she officially passes away. So we go into like a whole part where she gets to sing her first like single, and she's just adorable. I love our main character. She's so cute. She's so easy to root for as well. We do get to meet some of the other Shikigami as well, who are a lot more like, hey, you probably should like die, which is pretty messed up. But overall, I do actually really like this series. I think it's very solidly written. I think it has the Arina Tanemura touch, but also it doesn't have like some of the weird stuff that some of our other series can tend to have. But I guess we'll see later in the series if we do get one of those characters. Alright, up next, I decided to read the 7th volume of Candy and Cigarettes from Tomonori Inoue. Yeah, this continues to be an awesome series. I've talked about the series to death, and the action is great in this one as well. Some really intense moments coming into the Middle East, and I'm excited to see where we go up next, because they left on a massive cliffhanger. So hopefully we get some closure. I can finish the series off, or continue into the series. I don't know how close we are to the finish, but it has been a lot of fun. Alright, up next, I decided to read 2 volumes of Toshimitsu's Shimizu's Red Prowling Devil. This is volumes 2 and 3. Follows the story here about this girl here, who is like a flight commander, or I forgot, is she a captain? I think she's a captain. Anyways, she basically flies this plane here. It's called the Red Prowling Devil. People are absolutely terrified of her because she's a fantastic flyer. And some crazy stuff actually happens in Volume 2 that leads into I would say a different plane going into Volume 3. But overall, I think it's pretty cool. I don't think it's like... The series is less about the character writing and more about like just watching the artist draw planes, which I just think is cool. Like, I'm not expecting too much from this series. I don't think it's going to be, you know, a masterpiece or anything, but I am still enjoying it. I think the art alone is helping me to drive through this series, because the story's okay and the characters are decent. So yeah, that's about as much as I could say about it. I think the plane fighting, the dog fighting is probably the best part about this series, so I will continue to read it solely for that reason. Alright, up next, I decided to read the 4th volume of Touring After the Apocalypse from Sakurai Saito. Aliens? This series is weird. There's a lot of like sci-fi mystery. It's a post-apocalyptic mystery series. Kind of like a slice of life as well, because it's just like these two girls who are traveling around Japan and touring around Japan after the apocalypse, as the name suggests. And yeah, it's solid. I think I have a great time with it. But yeah, there's definitely like weird stuff that happens in every volume, and it keeps you hooked in that way to find out what these like kind of sci-fi, kind of post-apocalyptic, kind of like weird elements are. And yeah, interesting to see what they introduced in this one. And I can't wait to see what happens next. Alright, up next, I say to read The Thief, Inoue, Akikazu, and Other Stories from Osama Tezuka. And oh my goodness. Okay, so everything, like the first couple stories are fine. They're not my favorite, but The Thief, Inoue, Akikazu is a really cool story. The art is so gorgeous. Like seeing these backgrounds, wow, it is awesome. It's kind of hard to tell. I posted about this on like YouTube. I did what's it called? I did a YouTube short just kind of featuring just how gorgeous some of these like beautiful backgrounds are. Wow. Just like some lovely stuff. It's so well done. Just look at that. Wow. But overall, the stories are pretty decent. Obviously, Thief, Inoue, Akikazu is my favorite in this specific short story collection, but I would say it's pretty good across the board. Definitely give it a shot if you like Osamu Tezuka, or if you just want like a solid short story collection. Alright, up next I decided to read Smoking Behind the Supermarket with You from Janushi. And this was one that I did for the good old-fashioned FBI, and I really enjoyed it. I think the characters are awesome. I think the story, while, you know, like not the most breathtaking or mind-blowing thing, I think it gets the job done. The series is really carried by the art and by the character writing. The characters are awesome. They're just... They have a really fun dynamic amongst one another, and overall I just really enjoy it. So I can't wait until the second volume comes out so I can talk about this series more. Alright, up next I decided to read the 6th volume of Callon Generic Romance from Jun Miyazuki, and oh, my brain! Ooh wee! Oh boy, golly, Miss Molly. There's just, they just keep adding mysteries and my poor brain can't take it all, but it's so well done. I really enjoyed the series. This series is like honestly really flipping cool. I really like how the sci-fi elements are mixing in with like kind of like the mystery elements, as well as like the kind of like slice of life as well. I really like how everything's drawn. I love the backgrounds. And I kind of just like those quieter moments as well, like when she's just like cooking or just doing whatever, or feeding her fish, or a guy's eating noodles. Like, I think Jun Miyazuki's got a nice mix of like putting on the story elements while also mixing in kind of like times to just breathe. Give yourself a chance to feel these characters, understand these characters within their element. Yeah, I think it's a really good volume, and I cannot wait for the next one. Alright, up next, I decided to read the 3rd volume of Heart Gear from Tsuyoshi Takaki, another series that just has some absolutely mind-blowing art. Wow, look at this stuff. Oh man, it is so crazy and intense. Like, I gotta get closer to the camera. The artist, like, Takaki has a really good use of like perspective and like using like grayscale as well as like darker tones in order to help things pop out. I think like he just does it so well. If you really want an awesome post-apocalyptic sci-fi like series, super heavy on action, some really intense moments across the board, and just a really cool art. I like how like kind of scratchy it is. It feels very much like the work. He's really holding that pencil down really heavy. So if you want that kind of stuff, definitely give this a shot. It's really flipping cool. Alright, up next I decided to read the 7th volume of In Your Pasta from Rumiko Takahashi, and yeah, this one's pretty cool. I don't know what else I can really say about Inuyasha. It's a classic series, a lot of people really love it, and yeah, I'm also enjoying it as well. I don't think I like it as much as other people have, but we've definitely gotten to the point, like, I'm getting up to the point where I stopped watching the anime, which is basically when, Kagome gets sent back, and Inuyasha's like, don't come back, it's too dangerous. So basically that's where I'm at now, so I will be entering uncharted territory, and I am excited for that. Alright, up next, I decided to read the first volume of Mink from Megumi Tachikawa. Follow story. This is another one of those like idol, like kind of magical girl series. But basically, Mink is this girl who like loves singing and stuff, and she comes across like this computer program that allows her to like make this character, and lo and behold, she doesn't realize that the character that she creates actually becomes her, or she becomes that character. So now she is also a famous pop singer. As well. It's kind of weird because like Full Moon and Mink feel like very similar series. It's kind of strange, to be fair. But in this series, Mink doesn't have a terminal illness, so like the stakes are a little bit less high. But yeah, I think it's a cute series. I like the art style a lot. Megumi Tachikawa has a really cute art style with the classic big eyes, but very much enjoy it, and I will definitely be reading more when I get a hold of it. Alright, now that big boy, I decided to read the first 6 volumes of Kazune Kawahara's classic high school debut. Man. If you couldn't tell, I read 6 volumes of this series, which is extremely rare for me specifically. I don't typically read series this much, or this bingey, unless I'm really into it, and I am really, really into it. So our main character here, she's like, has no fashion style, doesn't really understand how to hit on men, and she wants a boyfriend. She wants it so bad. And the only way she knows, and the only way she can do it, is by meeting her love coach, her relationship coach, which is this guy right here. So he's gonna try to help her find a boyfriend. And oh man, I love them so much. Kazune Kawahara has a way of writing such a fun story, such lovable characters. Like, I really enjoyed my love story, and I'm really, really enjoying High School Debut. I also really like her art as well. I think her art is really cute. I love the facial expressions. I love the backgrounds. I love how goofy these characters are, especially our main character. She's so funny, and she also pisses me off, but it totally makes sense because she's a high schooler, and yeah, high schoolers do dumb things, so I totally get it. But man, I just want to be like, please, just stop doing certain things, or yeah, I'm really emotionally invested, as you can tell. But I absolutely love this series, and I cannot wait to continue reading this one. Alright, up next, I decided to read Furan Beyond Journey's Ends, Volume 10 from Kanehito Yamada and Tsukasa Abe. We get more context onto the Gold Demon guy, and yeah, it gets a little crazy in this volume. So, what's gonna happen? Are they gonna be able to stop the gold from bleeding through? I guess we're gonna have to find out. But this volume was awesome. If you don't know what Furan is at this point, you really should just look it up. It's got a fantastic anime. It's a really solid fantasy series, and I am very, very, very much enjoying it right now. Alright, up next, another one that has an anime out, and it just so happens that I read it and really, really enjoyed it. That is Delicious in Dungeon Volume 1 from Ryoko Kui, the series that a lot of people have told me to read, especially within my inner friend circle. People have been saying to just check this out, and I sure did, and I sure did love it. This is completely up my alley. It is so dumb, but basically it follows a story about these adventurers who, this guy here, loses his sister to a monster, a dragon, basically eats her, and he's like, I need to get back down there and try to save her, but we have no money, so we can't really eat anything, and we're gonna die out there. So they meet this dude right here, and he's like, hey, his name is Senshi. Yeah, that's his name. Senshi's like, hey, you know how to cook stuff, right? He's like, do I? So they learn how to make a variety of meals and stuff from the monsters that they kill and find within this dungeon. It is great. It's awesome. It's so much fun. It's so goofy. It's so stupid, but also really heartfelt at a lot of moments. I actually did very much enjoy it. I think it has a perfect mix of all that kind of stuff, and definitely worth all the hype it gets. Alright, up next, I decided to read the next 2 volumes of Twin Star Excist that I need to read. This is volumes 23 and 24 from Yoshiaki Sukeno. And yeah, the series continues to be awesome. We finally get the good old-fashioned marriage. They are officially married. They've done it. They did it. We did it. We are now one step closer to the edge. And I'm about to break. Volume 24. Oh no. Some stuff just bad stuff happens. Let's just say that. Let's just say some really bad stuff happens in Volume 24. It feels like we're in Endgame, but I guess we'll see. I don't know if we are, but it left on a massive sour note coming into 24, so I'm excited to read 25, and hopefully things get a little bit better. Alright, up next, I decided to read The Big Chungus Emma. This is Volume 4. Please focus, thank you. From Keigo Rumori. Yeah, this series is awesome. And now it's actually technically finished. The main story is now officially done as of Volume 4, and now we are officially into side stories, which is crazy because Volume 5 is gigantic, and that means it's all side stories, and I'm super hyped for it. I love the writing. I think Keigo Rumori is awesome. And yeah, this is another fantastic series. Just below Bride's Story for me. But honestly, it's like rating like a 9.25 and a 9. Emma is awesome. It's a really great series. And did very much enjoy it. I can't wait to finish it off soon. Alright, up next, excited to read the 9th volume of Blue Box. This is from Koichi Miura, and now we're at like the special camp, special training camp for all like the basketball team, the badminton team, and the gymnastics team. And yeah, tensions are rising. Oh no! And we finally got like a solid. How do I say it? We finally got a true confession. True rejection that I wish happened earlier. I feel really bad for the girl, and yeah, if you've read it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, well, I've kept it enough of a vagueness to know that something has happened. But yeah, this is a solid volume, and hopefully we get some more stuff going on soon. Alright, up next, decided to read the 2nd volume of Virgin Love from Tina Yamashina, and this was another great volume of the series. I'm really enjoying this one, and I don't see a lot of people talking about it, which is a shame. But yeah, basically follows the story about this girl who's like basically has it all down. Like she's financially stable, she has a great job, she's very like detail oriented, and the only thing she really hasn't done anything is like her love life. She's obviously a virgin. So she tries like this new program out for a dating app that these 6 people are going to move into like an apartment / like house, and they're gonna live together and they're gonna see what happens. So yeah, volume 2 starts off with a bang, and kind of ends in a whimper, but not in a bad way. It's just kind of like our main character is kind of dealing with heartbreak and trying to understand all this kind of stuff, and it's just it's so messy, but I sure do love it. And I can't wait for the third volume. It's great. It's honestly a really solid, I want to say like romantic drama. Yeah, it's got a lot of really great characters and good art. What can I say? Kodansha has been killing it lately. Alright, next, speaking of Kodansha, I don't know if I can show this on the screen, so I will hold it like this. This is Nude Model and Other Stories from Tsubasa Yamaguchi. Here, I'll just do this. Nude Model and Other Stories from Tsubasa Yamaguchi. It is a short story collection from Tsubasa Yamaguchi, the mangaka behind the absolutely amazing, remarkable Blue Period. I love that series, and yeah, I decided to read this, and this was also fantastic as well. Solid storytelling across the board. Art is gorgeous as well, and it's a little bit spicy across the board. So if you want some like kind of spicy stuff featuring a variety of different characters and a variety of different stories, definitely gives it a shot. If you like Tsubasa Yamaguchi, you gotta pick this up. Alright, up next, decided to read the 1st volume of Mermaid, NT Warrior, Volume 1 from Ryo Ataka Misaki. Yeah, this is a pretty solid series. I don't know, I don't know what to say. It follows the story of like the NT Warrior story, also known as the Battle Network story in English. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't really have much else to say about it. It's Mega Man stuff, so if you like Mega Man, give it a shot. Alright, up next, I read the 7th volume of Flame of Reka from Nobuyuki Anzai. And this is a really solid action series. I've talked about it to death at this point. And we got a really flippin' cool moment with Reka in general. Like, it's just really solid fights, a variety of characters. Like, ooh boy. And just some absolute brutality as well. I feel like the series is really good at making like just some like absolutely dark and brutal fights. Really takes it like further than a lot of other action series. Like there's just like a crazy amount of gore and like violence, but really solid series. I have a great time with this one, and yeah, another solid volume in the series. All right, up next, excited to read Barakamon Volume 7. This is from Satsuki Yoshino. And yeah, our boy is getting further and further in life. It's the whole, if you've read Barakamon, the whole entire like child theater thing where they have to do like the turnip thing, the turnip play is so funny. I don't know why it was so funny, but I just had a great time with it. And I just love this series. It's so good. Such a solid slice of life series, and can't wait to read the next volume. Alright, up next, excited to read Usatoki Rhetoric Volume 5 from Ritsu Miyako from One Piece Books. Wow. I love this series. I love mystery series. I just love this series so much. It's such a cute series. And I love our main characters. They're so easy to root for. We finally get to learn more about her parents, which is kind of cool. So, overall, very good. Good volume, excuse me. I've just got the most amount of gas in me right now. But yeah, just more mysteries to be solved, more lies to be found, and just more character development for our two main characters as well as some of the other side characters as well. So, great stuff. Love this series. Definitely give it a shot. Alright, you knew it was going to show up. Wand Dance Volume 8 from Coffee. What can I say? What can I say? My poor heart is broken. Our main character said something he probably shouldn't have, and now I'm kind of like, no! But it's kind of interesting to see where like our characters' like career paths or kind of paths in general are going. So I'm really rooting for our main character, but I'm also rooting for Wanda as well as she proceeds to continue for like that dance showcase for the one dude. Forgot what his name is. But yeah, genuinely love this series, and if you haven't checked it out, you really should. And last but not least, I read the first volume of The Blue Wolves of Meibo from Tsuyoshi Yasuda. And yeah, this is a really solid series. Follows a story about this kid here who lives in Japan way back in when. And he works for this restaurant. But after like a certain incident happens with his sister, he wants to join like the samurai group known as the Blue Wolves, and yeah, basically they're looked down upon, they're made fun of, they're like the samurai crew that we were like, oh, they're all ronins, they all have like, you know, they don't have any masters, they're just terrible people, blah, 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 blah. But honestly, genuinely, they're like the ones who are protecting the city in general. And yeah, it has some great art, has some really beautiful emotional moments as well, some really stupid moments as well. I genuinely like this series quite a bit. I don't know what I was expecting, but it definitely wasn't that. It's a really solid mix of like drama and action and comedy, and it intertwines them really well. So if you want to check that kind of stuff out, more sort like another samurai series, definitely give this a shot. It's really flippin' cool. That is going to be it for this reading log. That was a long one. Thanks for sticking around. And I'm going to ask you a question right now. Did you read any of this stuff? And if you have, let me know what you think about them in the comments below. Or what did you read in the month of February 2024? Also, let me know what you read down there in the comments below. Yeah, and that's about it. So you know what to do. You can like, you can comment, you can subscribe. Those are all amazing things. I really appreciate it when you do that. But yeah, if you don't decide to do it, thank you for watching all the way through. Really appreciate it. So that's gonna be it for this one. I will see you in the next video.